Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, I have a brutal story for you here today. This is not a 5-year marriage. This is not a 10-year marriage, but this is a 30-year marriage that was thrown away by a woman who decided to have an affair. Now, this one is a bit interesting, by the way, because the woman had an affair a long time ago, it seems, but it was actually the daughter that the husband found out that the affair occurred, right? So he found out that the affair happened not because the wife slipped up or not because of any piece of evidence he found, but the daughter actually told him in the end, which is crazy. So this is 30 years of marriage that got thrown away by a woman who decided to have an affair. So let's jump into this one, guys. If you have any thoughts or comments to share, maybe you've gone through something similar, or you have seen similar things happen, do be sure to leave a comment, and let's jump into this one. A devoted husband and father spent years blaming himself for his son's estrangement, only to discover decades later that his wife had been lying all along. His son had witnessed an affair when he was a teenager, but his mother manipulated him into keeping silent. Years of resentment and estrangement followed, all based on the deception. The truth only came to light when his daughter unearthed emails that had gone unread for years. This shocking revelation turned a seemingly strong marriage into a complete disaster. So throughout this whole thing where the wife is doing the affair or whatever over the years, the son was also estranged in the process as well. Let's jump into it. For almost 3 decades, a man in his late 50s believed he had built a strong marriage with his wife Isabelle, an immigrant. So he was an immigrant who worked tirelessly to create a successful business. He prided himself on providing a good life for his family. He started his own company before he met Isabelle and got married to her, and it's been growing steadily for 25 years. Okay, so this is the classic, right? You've got a man who is providing for his family, who's providing for his wife. He's working hard. Okay, he set up his company. What was that, like 25 years ago or something? It's been growing steadily for 25 years. Notice, by the way, how he had a successful company, it seems, before the woman was actually interested in him. This is usually the way it goes, by the way, guys, and this is why I say that successful men who have built their companies, or who have really spent time building their finances and stuff, these guys oftentimes become targets for women who don't necessarily love them and who will end up cheating on them anyway, right? So if you're a successful dude, this is something to be very careful of, because women will see the flashy stuff, right? They'll see that you've got a successful company, that you're a hard worker, that you're a provider, and many of these women will actually take advantage of men who are willing to provide for their family. It's really sad stuff, man. It really is. Like, unironically, the dudes who would actually do the most for women are the ones who typically get treated the worst. It's crazy how it works. It really is. Because a lot of the women, quite frankly, are predatory when they come across men like this. They understand that maybe the men don't have a lot of experience because they've been working hard the whole time, and then they just manipulate the hell out of them. So let's continue into this. So 25-year company, providing for the woman, got married. He and Isabelle had 2 children. Oh, by the way, DNA test the children. This should go without saying. He and Isabelle had 2 children, Jason, their eldest, and Rachel, their youngest daughter. The bond between father and son was unbreakable in Jason's early years. Jason was my little buddy growing up. We did everything together. We did bike rides, basketball, and weekend trips. But when Rachel was born, Isabelle seemed to gravitate towards her. She always wanted a daughter, and Rachel was a miniature version of her, he recalled. This is the one you should get DNA tested, probably. I mean, you should get both of them, but maybe test this one twice, She always wanted a daughter, and Rachel was the miniature version of her. The favoritism became apparent over time, but it was something that he brushed off as natural parental preferences. I mean, sure, people get all really frustrated and like, oh, how could you want a son more than a daughter, or a daughter more than a son, or whatever. I mean, I think a lot of parents, they have a preference, but at the end of the day, they're going to love the kids either way. Like a lot of dudes want to have a son because they feel as though they have more life experience and teaching ability to give to the son. Doesn't mean that if they had a daughter, they would love the daughter anything less, but in any case, DNA test both of these children immediately. This is very concerning stuff. If you ever discover that your wife has been cheating on you or something has really, irked you, I would strongly suggest that you go and have a DNA test of your children, because there's a good chance that one or maybe even both, hopefully not, but maybe even both of your children are not actually yours. So let's continue. The growing divide. As Jason became a teenager, the dynamic changed. He became distant. At first, I thought it was just typical teenage behavior, but it felt different. He went from being a happy, engaged child to a sullen, withdrawn teenager who lashed out at his parents, particularly his father. The breaking point came during a heated argument when Jason was 16. He called me a coward and a deadbeat father. He said our marriage was a sham and that I disgusted him. After that night, Jason refused any contact. The only interaction we had was me sending him money for his education, which he accepted but never acknowledged. So this is also the point where you have to ask yourself, right? Like, this is probably not what a lot of guys are going to be thinking, but there's definitely something else here at play. This sounds to me like the wife is manipulating the child, right? This sounds to me like female manipulation, where your reputation has been sabotaged by a woman. It's probably going to be your wife just by proximity. But usually when people have reactions to you as a man that are just incredibly negative, and you don't know why, you haven't done anything wrong, you don't understand, usually it's because someone has done some reputation damaging of you. They've probably lied about you. They've probably mischaracterized you to another person. And usually it's women that do this, right? And people will say like, oh, Taylor, that's so mean. How could you suggest that a woman would do such a thing? This is because it's very common. This is oftentimes women's form of aggression, by the way. And the reason why I say that men don't usually do this is because we don't typically even know what this is, right? If you talk to a dude about reputation sabotage, like, do you really think the average guy has engaged in a whole lot of reputation sabotaging throughout his life? You know, like, and gossiping and lying about and character assassination and stuff like this? Like, no, obviously not. Most men don't even know how to do this. If you were to try and test men and make men do this, right? Just field test it and try and get some guy to do this, he wouldn't even know where to begin. Women are very practiced about this crap, okay? They're very, very good at it. A lot of them have been doing it since they were very young. So this is obviously, right, it's probably not super obvious to the husband at the time, but this is the result of a woman manipulating an individual. Let's keep going here. Throughout it all, Isabelle painted a simple picture. Jason was a troubled teen, and his father's harshness had pushed him away, right? So notice how she's also lying about the father's characteristics, right? She told me the fight was about homework and rebellion, that Jason had always struggled with authority. He believed her. He blamed himself for not handling things differently. As time went on, Isabelle never attempted to reach out to Jason, and neither did she encourage her husband to reconnect. Yeah, of course she wouldn't encourage the husband to reconnect, because well, she's orchestrated all this manipulation, right? She doesn't want the husband to examine it too closely or to have too much communication, because that would perhaps unravel what she's been doing. It seemed like she had completely moved on from their son's absence. Rachel still had contact with him, but Isabelle never spoke about Jason unless it was to reinforce how much he resented me. Right, so she's trying to keep the two separated so that they can't communicate. This is another manipulation strategy that women do, right? Is they try and if it would not benefit them, they don't want two people talking. You see what I'm saying? Because then they can cross-reference, you know, they can make notes and compare about what's been happening, and they'll realize that the woman's been manipulating them both. That's why women love to separate people, you know, that they've manipulated. Anyway, so years passed. Jason graduated from college on a full scholarship, but he never invited his father to the ceremony. Then on Rachel's birthday, everything changed. She had spent the day with Jason and returned home visibly shaken. She looked disturbed. I asked her what was wrong, and she just said, "Dad, do you know the real reason Jason left?" Rachel encouraged him to check his old emails. I hadn't used that account in years. I barely remembered the password. When I finally logged in, I found dozens of unread messages from Jason. The emails revealed the heartbreaking truth. Jason had walked in on Isabelle having an affair when he was a teenager. When he confronted her, she turned the situation around, making him feel guilty. She told him that if he told me, I would leave and it would destroy the family. Worse, she told him that I was also having affairs on my business trips. There we go. Jason, feeling confused and betrayed, kept the secret. His anger festered, leading to years of resentment towards his father, who he believed was also unfaithful. So check this out, guys, right? This is the character assassination that I'm talking about. You have the woman telling the teenage son that the husband had been having an affair this entire time, right? That he'd been having affairs on business trips and everything. And then she manipulates the hell out of the son and says that this, hey, if the son brings it up, she's, the son's going to be the one who essentially breaks up the family. This is crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff. Absolutely awful. So I don't know as well why, the son was trying to contact through his emails. I'm sure there could have been plenty of other ways that they could have organized to contact the husband, but let's continue. The man immediately confronted Isabelle. At first, she denied everything. She claimed Jason was lying, that he always had a problem with authority. She tried to gaslight me into thinking this was just Jason trying to manipulate me, but he had proof. Jason's emails full of detailed accounts and timelines. Faced with the evidence, Isabelle crumbled. She finally admitted to the affair. She said it was a one-time mistake. This is a lie as well. But I knew that was a lie. Good. She said that she was scared of losing me, so she lied to Jason to keep him quiet. Her confession was devastating, but what broke him most was her next statement. She said she never really connected with Jason because she had always wanted daughters. She didn't bond with him the way she did with Rachel. For years, he had believed Jason was acting out, but the truth was that Isabelle had alienated her son, pushed him away with her favoritism, and manipulated him into silence. Again, this is where I have to bring up again the paternity testing, guys. Many dudes won't actually end up doing this, but the problem is there are a lot of guys who are actually out there raising kids who are not currently their own as a result of affairs that are exactly like this one. And usually, by the way, the men don't actually know, okay? For every post there is like this that comes up on Reddit or whatever, for every post that exists like this, guys, where or a situation where a man has actually found this out, imagine how many situations actually exist where the man doesn't know. This is why DNA tests, in my opinion, should be default at birth. This is something that should be automatically done. So, filing for divorce and rebuilding a relationship, there was no coming back from this. I told her to leave immediately. She begged me to reconsider, but my decision was final. She had lied, manipulated, and destroyed my relationship with my son. Yeah, this is years of the father-son relationship that is gone, by the way. Rachel refused to speak to her mother after learning the truth. She was disgusted. She had always admired her mother, but this changed everything, right? So the daughter seems to have morals, disgusted by the mother. Fantastic stuff. Reaching out to Jason was the hardest part. I sent him a message telling him I finally knew the truth, that I was sorry for everything, and that I wanted to talk. I would, in this message, you should immediately do your best to let the child know that also you didn't cheat as well. Because again, this kid is still operating under the assumption that this guy was having affairs. You should probably let him know right off the bat that, hey, never had an affair or anything. Your mother was lying. And that's the way it is, you know? Jason was hesitant at first, but after a long conversation, he admitted that he regretted cutting his father out of his life. He told me he wished he had spoken up sooner instead of letting his resentment build up for so many years. He never wanted to hate me. He just didn't know how to handle the situation. So moving forward, the divorce was messy, but it didn't matter. He just wanted out of the life. Isabelle fought to keep the house. Of course she did. But with Jason and Rachel supporting their father, she had no leverage. Fantastic. So she didn't get the house. For the first time in years, he was hopeful. I spent so long believing that I had failed his son, and that I was the reason he hated me. And now we're finally working on rebuilding our relationship. He ended with reflection. If there's one thing I've learned, it's to never let someone else control your narrative. If I had dug deeper sooner, I wouldn't have lost so many years with my son, but we're making up for lost time now, and that's what matters. This is so sad, by the way, because number one, imagine how many men are going through this exact same situation and they don't even know it. But also, this dude lost years of father-son time. You know what I mean? Like, your father and your mother are not going to be around forever, okay? This is absolutely valuable time that the father probably wished that he had spent with his son. So very, very sad stuff here. But it's good to see that the ex-wife is now an ex-wife. She didn't get the house, which of course is absolutely hilarious to me. I just love how cheating wives will still go after a man's assets. That's crazy. But hey, hopefully one day that crap will change and we can make that illegal. That would be fantastic. But guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. Do not forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.